I'm back. I was recording, or rather I lost half of the footage of all the things I recorded. I asked my son to help me check, and unknown to me, anyway, there's no point, you know, kids. So to continue from what I was saying yesterday, and like I said, this video is for those of you, the doubting Thomases, the ones who are looking for logic in all of everything in Busola's story. And I want to, I'm going to, keep giving it because, to a certain level, it's super annoying. It's so annoying and it's disgusting when I see some of the comments. Up until yesterday, I saw when one human being, in the beginning, he sounded like he was making sense. And then all of a sudden he goes, why now? Why now? What do you mean, why now? For those of you asking why now, that's why I'm doing this video. Now I'm going to answer your questions. In the other half of the video, you're going to hear me, talk about all those why nows. And now how like I said, I'm trying to avoid this video being extremely long, but it is what it is. Now, according to her video and, watching it, please, like I said, if you haven't watched this video, go and take your time. Please do not rush through anything, because Nigerians, we actually behave like people who go for exams and expecting to see expo once we get there. It doesn't work that way. Please watch that video. Now, to continue, I want you to understand that a predator, okay, does not operates at a very, very high level of intelligence. And in every step of the way, for some of you could not even understand, oh, she kept on going back. Listen, the Fatu Igbo guy, it was all about control. He needed to control the narrative. He needed to control the environment. He was the judge, jury, and executor. It was him. From the moment he slept with her, and he said, I quote, and he said, you should be happy that a man of God did this to you. What level of depravity is that? How callous can you be? I asked you a question in that video. How many of you have forgotten your first? All you women. All of you calling her or branding her on scale. How many of you? Okay? Now, I also wrote again that, like I said, he has to control the narrative. Listen, we saw what happened. A lot of us watched what happened with the protests. All right? And most of the people who were talking, who were supposed to be members of the church, are speaking like people under hypnosis. Manipulation at the highest realm of authority. Listen, if you don't know, when you are a person of authority, okay, and the moment you assume this authority and you own it, my dear, power comes into play. Control comes into play because, listen, check it. You as the boss cannot give out the impression of being a weak link because you know that if you do that, your workers are going to mess up with you. You know that. So how much less somebody whom is purported to be a man of God? For me, I don't really care about all those their titles. I don't give a fuck about them. I'm sorry to use that language. I don't. So, like I was saying, it says that for them, what I wrote is hypnotize the members to not understand logic from fantasy, and that is exactly what we're seeing here. Rather than you speak in the name of God, rather than you understand. Listen, when Christ was in the world, okay, the day he died on the cross, the Bible recorded that he was arrested, he was crucified with 2 thieves. And then even on the cross, one of the thieves gave his life to him. And Christ told him, on this day, you will be with me in paradise. When Christ told him on this day, you'll be with me, did the thief, did what he said bring down the thief from the cross? Sure, the thief was still there. Wasn't his leg broken and killed? Was there any way he was absolved of his crime? Christ did nothing and he was crucified. Now those who were crucified there with him, it is recorded, I didn't write it, that they were thieves. There is nowhere that it is understandable that if you commit a crime, even as a man of God, that you cannot be punished. If you will take your time to punish your children for doing things that are wrong, then why is it that this one cannot be punished? If the members of the church can be punished, why can't he be punished? Who is he? And who are you to question her narrative? Who are you to question my narrative? Who are you to question my story? Who are you to question my truth? Who are you to question what I know happened to me? It is my story. It is my experience. Now, moving on. I talk about manipulation and hypnotism. And I'm going to say one word, grace. He is the protagonist and the antagonist. That is, hypnosis. If you guys have ever seen a session on hypnosis before, and that is one of the reasons I said I can never ever be a willing participant to hypnosis. Hypnosis is all about making the person understand one thing and one thing only. That is what hypnosis is. Take your time, go and watch movies or, on hypnosis or documentaries. There is a word the hypnosis says. Whenever you hear this is what happens. You will not do this, you will not do that. Then they always give a clause. When you hear this, you will come out of this, you will be this, you will be that. Let me tell you, if you don't know, his hypnosis is grace. He used grace as a language. He used grace as hypnosis. Grace will heal you. Grace will absolve you of everything. Grace will do this for you. Grace will do that for you. And a lot of us foolishly carry this on our brains. Grace. Who grace does not live. I have heard so many things about this so-called grace. And if people don't understand what is happening in Nigeria in the form of religion, it is brainwashing. People are being brainwashed, if you don't know. And they are willing participants. Willing. Openly. Let me continue. This man just raped you. Why did you go back? Yes, why did you go back? Have you ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome? When the first time I heard of Stockholm Syndrome, listen, like I tell you, most of you go and get educated. I'm sorry. The first I heard of Stockholm Syndrome, what is Stockholm Syndrome? I started doing my little research. I do research a lot. Whether I need it for a book, I do research. When I got admitted into school for my MBA, what saved me that I passed my test was a research that I did that had nothing, I had no idea. I just carried out a research on my own. I just saw the word, it couldn't leave my brain, and I said, okay, do it. And I just started searching. Lo and behold, the day I did my admission test for my MBA, it was a test of 1 hour. Written, spoken, or written, oral, and what's the other one? I had a written test and an oral test. Yeah, it was just those two. And then a logical. And the written test, it was a question that bordered on something and what I had researched upon. Listen, as human beings, knowledge should not depart from as long as you're alive, you don't stop learning. It's a learning process. Automatically, you do not stop. You keep on doing it. It's not about money. You keep on doing it because you have to be in the know. We have so many resources today. Listen, ignorance has ceased to be an excuse. Have you ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome is when you begin to idolize your abuser. Rape victims suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. If you do not know it today. Kidnap victims do suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. Whether you like it or not, go and look for it. It exists. So if she keeps on going back there, she's not going back there because she loved it. No, she didn't love it. It is a syndrome where you begin to understand that this person who is supposed to be your savior, you have an attachment, a kind of a slave attachment to this person. Let me use that word. It's a mental slavery attachment to that person. And listen, no matter how much you try, except somebody understands what is going on and works with you towards getting this. And in this part, that is where I'm going to call Busola Dakolo. You are a husband. You are a good man. When I heard and when I saw and I watched what you did It reminded me so much of my husband, because that is exactly what my husband would do. My husband is not the vocal type. He doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't waste his breath on speech. He believes in action. That is my husband. My husband is the action person. He doesn't talk. But I give you all the props, because you needed your wife to be free. You needed your marriage. You needed the woman you love and fell in love with. And so for that, I say, na man you be. Person wey no sabi am, he go learn am from your hand. Thank you, Timi Dakolo. Because you understood that you were sharing your wife. You were sharing your wife with somebody who was not meant to be there. And for that, I say thank you. Thank you so much for giving courage to other men who did not or have suppressed their wives and their trauma. Or other women who have suppressed their husband's trauma. Now, moving on. I also talked about, more for those of you who are asking, I don't understand the logic. Let me tell you the logic of a predator. He was going into her in little. I told you, there are 4 things: fear, control, manipulation, hypnotism. How was he applying it? He had threats. I spoke of one in the previous cut. This one again here. He said, nobody ignores me. You say this to a 16-year-old. He also dropped another one. I'm a cultist, or converted cultist. And for this, we have to start investigation on that. I said it before. We have to investigate him there. Hey, okay. Ada muta ihe ojo nanka. No. So nobody ignores me. You tell this to a 16-year-old who has no idea what this man is capable of. Remember, she also spoke about the fact that she was alone. She had no one. For those of you who are sweeping and cleaning your pastor's houses and bathrooms and the toilets and going to carry their children, this one is for you. Stay in your homes. If pastor wants house girl, he should hire. If he's looking for help, they should hire. It is not your place. It is not your duty. Those of you that have relegated your homes and started doing pastor's house, go home. Go back to your marriage. Pastor is not going to give you anything. Pastor is not going to do anything for you. I have heard where the pastor say, there's a helping me. God. My dear, help yourself. When you came into this world, you did not come into this world with anybody. The day you die, you're going to die on your own. Those of you that are moving to pastor, sending your children to go to pastors' houses, go and clean for him, go and do this for him, go and do that. You better stop it. Parents, this is for you, because many of you are to blame. I'm not going to blame my parents for working, trying to provide for the family. I'm not going to blame you for that. But I'm going to blame you for neglecting your homes, your children. The responsibility of the upbringing of your child is yours. Morally, in religion, in everything, it is you as a parent. And there I blame you. The religious upbringing and moral instruction of your child is not in the hands of any human being than yourself. Stop turning your children to houseboys and housegirl for another man. If they want it, they should go and look for it. They should hire helps and pay them. Madam Fato Ibo, my husband is never said rape, even as an unbeliever. Scripted words. My dear, believer or unbeliever, the man had sex, all right, with a minor. Sex with a minor is statutory rape. In any which case, he did it. Whether it was consensual with her or not. He raped her. So for those of you who are looking for the logic, please get in tune with legalities. Please. Please. And stop disgracing the schools you went to. Stop disgracing where you people attended your universities, because sometimes it is hard for me to understand. I heard the other one they call Mr. John. I was shocked at the kind of language, crass language that was coming out of a man's mouth to another man's wife. Where have we lost it? Where have we lost it in Nigeria? Where have we lost it? Who speaks that way? Who speaks that way? For dignity's sake, I am not going to post that video. I'm not going to look for it, and I'm not going to put it here. For dignity's sake. If I had any respect at all for Mr. Jollof, in any way or in any capacity, I lost it. He went from here, here, for me. In what capacity do you speak in that manner about another man's wife or another person's pain? A 16-year-old, for those of you who are asking, allergic, I don't need to convince you. I don't need you. I don't need you to give me you need you to make me give you the narrative you want to hear. I don't need that. What I need is my story, my truth, and I have to tell it. I don't need that. So for those of you who are looking for logic, a 16-year-old is a minor. Is not an adult in any way. While many of you are still looking for the sense in it, please look for the sense in it. But I pray it doesn't happen to you. I pray it doesn't happen to any of your children. I really do pray, because if it does, this man went on and continued about what they call it again. He says they need to beg, and begged her. Listen, if you do not understand what went on in that girl's life, Biodun Fatoyinbo needed to control the narrative. He needed to control everything, whereby she called the names of the pastors, Wole Soyinka and co, who came. Have you asked yourself, why were they all interested in her? Why being in the church? And then he even went ahead and they said, they carried out and they formed a group, a program for sexual abuse victims. And the person who is supposed to be the counselor in the sexual abuse classes is your abuser. How else do you kill somebody's spirit? How else do you destroy a human being? How else do you make somebody begin to look at their accuser every day, every night, in the name of counseling through abuse? And her counselor is her abuser. How low can we go? How depraved can one human being be? How beastly is this human being? For those of you who are asking for logic and reasoning, and why now? There is no statute of limitations to when an abuse or violent victim tells their story. So I can tell my story at any time I want. I can tell my story at any moment I decide I am free to do that. That is for you to understand. All these people knew about it and they were covering up. And they needed to be sure that the story did not get out of the four walls. They needed to control it. Control. Manipulate. Hypnotize. That was what they were looking for. That was what he needed to do. But he knew he could not do it alone. He knew he needed other people, willing participants to his charade. And on this note, I'm going to tell you all, please, educate yourselves. Let us not go roaring outside against victims of abuse. Let's not do that. More than anything, your principles should hold you. You are, as a human being, you should have principles and discipline. Your principles, first and foremost, is a crime was committed here. Throw the church aside. The church is you and I. If the body of the church is sick, everything is sick. Because right now, it is stinking from the head to the toes. It is stinking. It is messed up. And for us to salvage it, it has to start from the church. It cannot start anywhere else. Enough is enough. And on this note, I'm going to sign off. Please, let us learn to separate abuse and understand that sexual abuse is about the victim. Stop catering to the abuser. It is the victim who needs your help. The victim needs your support. The victim needs your voice to rise, to be confident, because Busola Dakolo speaks for me. Busola Dakolo speaks for you and for unborn children and for all of us out there. And on this note, I am Busola Dakolo. I am a sexual abuse victim. I am a sexual abuse survivor. If you like this video, please share. Subscribe to my channel. Content as much as I can and like this. So subscribe to my channel. For those of you who cannot access YouTube, I'll be leaving this video in MP4 format on my Facebook, juliettsstyleglam. I'm going to put the link here in the video. I'm going to put the link so that you can access the video on my Facebook. So join me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, and you can be able to watch the video. Alright? And on this note, thank you. Bye.